Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. So much has happened in these 2 episodes. What is going on, you guys? It's yours truly, the Ryo Sakurai here, and welcome to another, finally, Kamen Rider Geo review of episode 9 through episode 10. Basically, I'm just gonna be going over a couple of things because a lot happened in this. So in the beginning of this, Aura, and Schwartz are in 2018, and they're discussing that all their plans are not really working, so they needed to have a surefire plan to find a worthy candidate that could last long enough to become king and not be thwarted by Tokiwa and Gates. But then also in this, we see Dan Kuruto in his gold kingly like outfit, just being as much of him as possible. We find out that his corporation has like literally hit the big time, and we see that gave him the power of another rider, O's of all things that he needed to have. So we have Dan Kuruto, who has the power of another rider in this, which is just it's just crazy, but it fits him to see, because like he can be that crazy, and these 2 episodes, they were mainly about desires, and what better way than to introduce desires than to have Dan Kuruto, the man who is all about his own desires, be put into this. But yeah, he's calling himself instead of Dan Kuruto, the president of his company, he's calling himself Dan Kuru King. Dan Kuru King. And he basically declared like all of Japan to be his, and that they all have to abide by his law, and whoever didn't abide by his law, they were turning into his he turned them into his servants, these mummy like servants and whatnot. Of course, Gates suspects that the Time Jackers are involved in this. Of course, why wouldn't they be? And Tokiwa and Gates go to the scene, and they transform to fight the monsters, but they could hardly hit them until they realize that they gotta really do damage on them. Then Dan Kuruto comes out, wilding out as usual, and becomes the another rider O's, starts to fight Gates and freaking Tokiwa. My bad, memory just wiped out on me for a minute. But yes, both of them, along with Tsuyomi, well, actually Gates and Tsuyomi realized that the back of Dan's in his another rider form, it has like the number, and they noticed that his ride watch popped up out of nowhere while they were fighting him, and they think that it said the back of his year said 2016, when in reality it was actually 2010, because they went into that time 2016 where he got the power and looked at it again, and it's like, oh wow, it's 2010. Well, that's just the way it's gonna be. But yeah, they see that it doesn't work, because while they go into back in that time, and Gates transforms into he transforms the Gates, and he uses the rider armor of Kamen Rider again, which is very awesome. It's very cool. It's a nice little touch to him. Not really that explicit, but it was just a nice touch and whatnot. Yeah, but yeah, they realize that they can't really defeat him in that time, because it's not the correct timeline. They have to go to 2010 in order to beat him, and for him to stay beaten. Wolves randomly appears, and he's just making sure Tokiwa is alright, that that he's straight, that but he's questioning, like, my overlord, like, why are you following this man? But Tokiwa is like basically trying to explain to everybody that the reason why he was trying to be under Dan's wings because he wanted to see what an evil overlord would be. And of course, Dan did not disappoint. He was himself as always in both these episodes. We even meet freaking Hina from the original series Kamen Rider O's, and she's his servant. And as soon as he's getting ready to beat the crap out of her, Tokiwa comes in and he's like, I want to learn from you because you seem like you have a plan and whatnot, like you're an actual king. I want to learn from you and whatnot. Dan is like, well, seeing as how I'm king, you can't be a king, so I'm gonna make you my servant. And that's what happened. So then Tokiwa decides to call Tsuyomi and Gaze back to the original timeline to say that, hey, I decided to do this so y'all can watch and see if anything goes down. Basically covering them. But no, they wouldn't even let him get a word in edgewise. Gates automatically assumes the worst and attacks him. Tokiwa beats the living crap out of him. He like Gates couldn't even touch him in that fight, and he basically defeats him. They go off into somewhere else, and Dan is basically, Dan is basically, you know, saying that, oh, I saw everything of that you are now been appointed to my my chief officer of my rule of this era of my royalty and whatnot. Like he was dapping it up. He was like Dan was, he was just all over the place. He did not give a damn. He was just all over the place with everything. But yeah, it was very, to me, it was very surreal. Well, not even surreal, but it was very nice to see Dan Caruso in both these episodes, because you would think that like the X-Aid episode that they had, that was gonna be it. No, we then see Dan Caruso step in here, so they're basically letting people know that, hey, you know, just because we explored this ride watch and whatnot doesn't mean that something else can't happen. So it's a good touch. It's honestly a good touch. But yeah, Woz tells Tokiwa that in order to beat the another rider O, that he has to have the ride watch for O's. But Tokiwa says that it's important for him to do this because he wants to become an overlord. He wants to be a good overlord. But yeah, Tokiwa basically admires him at first until he sees the real side of Dan Caruso and whatnot, and learns about what had happened to him and his father at the end of like episode 10. Oh yeah, then we meet Hono Eiji. Eiji appears in this. It's like I was pumped. I was like, yes, that man appears. Like he's looking pretty looking pretty dad-like. Looking pretty getting kind of old, going older in them years, like aging. He's aging in these years, and that makes me like really think like it's been a minute since, you know, his series came out. It's like, wow, like he really, you know, peaked up. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they didn't, you know, change him and whatnot in this, even though his you know, the timeline was like altered and whatnot. He still is the same Eiji that like he wants to have enough money to get him like one pair of underwear, and that's it, and he's good for the rest of the day, you know. And it was just nice to see him and Hina in this. It was really nice. It would have been nice to see freaking Anka in this. It would have been nice to see him, but hey, I was alright. I'm fine with just those two characters, the other two main characters. Then in the beginning of episode 10, Tokiwa basically is sensing that Eiji is the real Kamen Rider O's, and just by the fact that he can tell by the fact that his desires, you know, are just pouring out of him, like his aura is just saying, it's just speaking desire. And that's basically what his series is about. Is all about, you know, desire and wanting to do what you feel. But Eiji also tells him that if he wants to be a good king, he has to learn that there are some things that he can't do alone. And after he tells him that, he gives him the right watches, and Tokiwa basically goes into the timeline 2010 to fight Dan Kuruto. But before he does that, freaking Aura shows up out of nowhere, though, and that's other than that, that's like the first time that we see her. Other than and Swartz. Swartz only appeared once, and then appeared like once or twice in this. Like the Time Jackers, even though they were saying that they have to find the perfect candidate, they didn't really step in as much in this. They didn't really step in as much to try and make sure, you know, that was, you know, the probable cause. But yeah, Gaze stops her, and we find out that the freaking time machine can use the ride watches too, because the time machine can basically use the attributes of each of the ride watches, and like the face will change, and it'll go from like the regular face to like the ride watcher O's, and then the his hawk form and whatnot. I am so doggone tired. Y'all can probably see that, but like it's like 11:41 that I'm recording this. I'm so tired. But yeah, after all that, and freaking Tokiwa finally beats Dan Kuruto, and the way that Dan Kuruto gets defeated is so funny. Like he's just so funny in both these episodes. Like, to me, he was, because it just made me remember how he acted in the series Kamen Rider X8. It was just so doggone funny the way he acts. It's just so weird, but yeah, I can't help but laugh. It's like he is something else. Like, but yeah, after this, Gaze decides to leave out of frustration, because he's trying to stay focused on, you know, as to the reason why he came to that specific timeline, to, you know, to kill off Tokiwa, and to tell to himself that he's not his friend, that he has to stay focused and whatnot. And Aura is watching him for some reason. Then we see Kota at the end of this, and I'm just even more pumped, especially at the previews that I randomly saw. Apparently we're going to be getting 2 Tokiwas in the same doggone timeline, so that's going to be very odd. But yeah, these 2 episodes I love these 2 episodes. I'd watch them again and again and again, just out of sheer laughter at Dan Kuruto, at just being him, just being himself. I loved it. Even in the shorts, I loved him in, and when they were just, you know, advertising the toys. By the way, I need to get the driver belt for Kamen Rider Zio. I need to get the driver belt. But yeah, that's going to be it for these 2 episode reviews. The episode review of these 2 episodes, episode 9 and 10. I hope you guys did enjoy my rambling on this about this. As such, this has been the Ryo Sakurai, and thank you guys so much for watching this. I'm gonna get up out here and hopefully get some sleep. Peace.